Okay, folks, once again, we are live. Welcome once again to our association of football topics, sprinkled with a hint of blue cheese. I'm your host, Jono, all the way over here in New Jersey. Over across on the river, the other side of the river over there is the good captain. He's making a whole heap of noise. Good captain, say hi to the folks.
Hi, folks. Sorry about the noise.
All right, there you go. We're going to head down south. We're back in the Carolinas, reunited, and it feels so good. The good doctor, say hi to the folks.
So good. Hey, guys.
All right, Doc, say hello. There'll be no Florida. Florida, what's the name? Compadre is at this present moment preoccupied, and our man in the streets is lost in the streets at this moment. So this week we did promise you guys that we'll be discussing the Champions League group stage and the groups. The draw was made on October the 1st. 32 teams went into the pot of the 4 pots, and then within the 4 pots were created 8 groups were created out of it. 32, 4 into 8. I think the maths, something like that, goes that way, like that. Group 1 has Atletico, Bayern, Lokomotiv Moscow, and Red Bull Salzburg. Top teams. Top teams there of good quality. It also features, of course, our champions from last year, Bayern Munich. Schiff, how say you to Bayern Munich being favorites in this group?
I mean, I actually think Atletico might be favorites, but Bayern haven't started so hard in the Bundesliga this year.
They have not, no.
And I think they have a little bit of a hangover. Alaba is already talking about leaving next year.
Because of the contract situation.
I would actually put Atletico to win and Bayern to come second. I don't think Lokomotiv or Salzburg is going to do much to challenge those two teams. I'd put Lokomotiv to go to Europa.
That's pretty bold, as opposed to Red Bull Salzburg going to Europa.
Yeah.
Okay, good doctor. Let me put this another way. We have seen many times, and we're in a group. We were in a group. Chelsea was in a group with Atletico Madrid, I think 2 or 3 years ago, and they looked favorite to win it. They ended up finishing in 3rd place, going to Europa, and of course, winning Europa League. That was their thing. So, how say you to Bayern winning this group, Red Bull probably coming second, and Atletico going to Europa?
I don't know if I think the first and second would be Bayern, and the biggest dark horse or surprise I think that would be in this group would be Lokomotiv.
You're right there. Lokomotiv.
Yes, because in comparison to the other teams, they had less to worry about in terms of restarting and not restarting. Like they had a less busy. They have well-rested players basically. They do. They're of a decent caliber this season. They've been kind of killing it. I've read reports that I've actually read reports that highly rate them. They could be like the surprise of this group.
Interesting.
So, but like Red Bull Salzburg, it's going to be an entertaining group for sure.
Yes, it is, without a
doubt. Like Red Bull Salzburg, like yes, they had a couple of other players before Haaland moved on and Minamino, whatever his name is, moved on. But that was like a 4-4 with Liverpool. They're an exciting team to watch.
Okay, so how say you to ignoring Schiff and saying Bayern number 1? You're going for Moscow as number 2?
Moscow is a possible 2, yes.
Okay.
They would be if Atletico doesn't reach form
themselves, it'll be them.
Yeah. Lokomotiv.
Okay. And Schiff, you got Atletico number 1, Bayern number 2.
Yep.
All right, fair enough. You live by it and so forth. Do you believe this group A is a group of death?
Nope.
Okay. All right, let's move on to Group B. Group B has Gladbach, Inter, Real Madrid, and Shakhtar Donetsk. How say you, good doctor, to
yes, sir.
Real Madrid, winning this group. Okay, I'm going to be honest, guys, and say for me personally, this group is the group of death. Group B for me. That's just me. Gladbach on their day can do it. Shakhtar Donetsk, we don't know what Brazilian conditions are in there that they're going to come along and do whatever they're going to do. Madrid can blow hot and cold. Yes, their experience and so forth, but they've been found out so many times, man, from the fat boy that left Chelsea all the way to
before Hazard, like you remember Club Brugge last year.
Right, Club Brugge, that's right, exactly. Yeah. Last year came along and spacked them in the group stage. Yeah. And Inter can be either way. Conte can be, you know what, we tried, we didn't do it, we want to read the Scudetto, so be it. He went along and he got all the way to the finals of the Europa. That's the closest he has been as a manager in a European competition.
Sure.
Maybe this is his time. How say you, nobody, apart from me, does anybody here not believe that this group, for me, is my group of death, believe that any one of these 4 teams theoretically can finish 1 or 2? How say you to that, Shift? You're shaking your head.
So I do agree that this is the team with the best, the group with the best 4th team. Whoever comes 4th is the best 4th in there. But at the same time, I think Inter and Real just have too much depth. And while Shakhtar is really good, like they and
Gladbach. Just say Gladbach.
Gladbach, yeah, and Gladbach are really good. I don't think they can compete for 1st and 2nd, right? I just think the depth. Inter has bought so heavily, and Lukaku is just on a tear, and Real Madrid under Zidane are just an unstoppable force in the group stages. While I agree with you, the 3rd and 4th are better than any other group. I just think these 2 teams are stronger.
So if that's the case, that makes it a group of death where the 4th... So,
for me, the group of death is when you have no idea, or there are 3 teams, you have no idea who are going to be the top 2, right? Like in this, I think Inter and Real are going to finish 1 and 2.
Doctor, how say you to Shift?
I think this is one of the more exciting groups. Gladbach has some really exciting attacking talents. They're pretty capable in the defense. But I might say that Inter and Real should have no reason not to win this group.
Okay. Yeah, I could dig that because of their historical and also the managers.
Better managers as well. And tacticians, and maybe even the fact that they have maybe more of a goal, not Real, but Inter definitely have more of a goal-scoring threat. Like I don't know what Odegaard is going to do in the midfield, if he's going to be that dynamic, if he's going to move play. Like, will Hazard be in shape? Will he not be in shape? You know, like
Hazard will not be in shape.
but we all know that. I'm just trying to be nice. But generally speaking, like in terms of like the dynamics of the 2 big guys in this group, they could come away with it. But the surprise here would be Gladbach, definitely.
Okay, fair enough. All right, Group B is my group of death, and I have Inter winning the group and Real Madrid coming 2nd.
Fair.
All right, let's go to Group C. The good doctor, Man City, Olympiacos, Marseille, and Porto. How say you to Group C, sir?
I say that Man City have to be bribing somebody to get into the group every single year. How do they do it? I mean, like.
Well, it was Didier Drogba, and it was Chelsea boys that did the draw.
Yeah,
Malouda and Didier.
Damn it. Well, look. So Man City's definitely winning this one. The only thing that's left up in the air is Marseille being, replicating their form from last year versus Porto stealing it. Because Olympiacos, although astute and strong defensively, have nothing going forward in terms of attack. All of their games were low-scoring games in Europe last year. If they didn't draw, it was 1-1. It was 2-1. like they barely made it through.
Guys, if Leicester City can beat Man City, and if Leeds can get a draw against Man City, why will not Porto, who've got players, who've got some good, who's the #1 team?
They've got some decent players. They got some decent players in Portugal, right? However, the last time Porto rose to the occasion, they sold their striker to China. let's put it that way.
Okay, Shift.
Like,
So Shift. Yeah. How say you then to Leicester being able to beat City and Leeds, be able to beat City? Why not AVB's Marseille?
I mean, again, anything can happen, right? So yes, they could beat them, but over 2 legs, over 6 games, City just have too much depth and too much firepower that I think they're going to go and be first. Porto and Marseille will fight it out with each other, lose some points there. Olympiacos will desperately cling to get points, in Greece. So I just think Man City is going to run away with it.
So are you saying the problem with this group stage is that it's not like the knockout tournament that was on the previous one, where one game, that's what it is. So that favored small teams like Lyon and Red Bull, as opposed to, what's the name, these group stages where, all right, you may knock us one or we may get a draw. We're going to come back though and stomp you the second round. So does anybody have Group C as their group of death?
Nope.
All right, gentlemen. Group D. Group D has Ajax, Atalanta, Liverpool, and Midtjylland. And it is not full of midgets, by the way. Everybody thinks because it goes midget land, that's what it is. How say you shift to the Midtjylland, finishing 4th in this group?
I mean, I know so little about them. Every once in a while, I'll see them in a Europa game or a Champions League game, but they never seem to do anything. So no hope for them. Ajax have sold their golden generation. I barely can recognize anyone who's there. So,
well, they still have Tadic. They still have Daily Blink. They also have Quincy Promise. Quincy's there.
I mean, they still have some players, but they've sold the vast majority of the players that made them relevant in the Champions League.
What's the name is still there? The left back. Tagliafico is still there, until maybe January, but at least he's still there for now. But this looks like, you think this is Liverpool's group?
This is Liverpool's group, because Atlanta did great last year, but we've seen in the past where a team comes out of nowhere, does really, really well one year, they tend to drop off the year after.
All right, Atalanta is #1 in Serie A, isn't it? Or top 2, 1 or 2. Milan is #1. Yeah, they've both got unbeaten records at this current moments in Milan. How say you then, good doctor, to Atalanta fighting out this group?
My group of death.
This is your group of death?
Yes.
So you think even Midtjylland can also win the group?
3 out of 4. Okay.
Okay, right.
No, because like in this group, I can't conceive like it's anybody's between Atalanta, Ajax, and Liverpool to be one.
Really?
In my opinion, because although Ajax have sold a number of their stars, their academy is still churning out a bunch of people. So I'm waiting to see. Like this to me is my group of death, because like it could be Atlanta. They can pull a masterclass like they've been doing for the past 18 months and beat them, right? Not like Liverpool has had, like, yes, they won it recently, but they've had some poor in some group stage games, and that could be taken advantage of. Ajax could be like this young team that's just like hungry for proving themselves, and I think that dynamic in itself will make this an extremely entertaining group.
Okay, so apparently in medical school, D stands for actually death in more ways than one. All right, let's move on now to Group E. Group E, we're all going to discuss this. We won't even wait for a hint of blue cheese. Let's flow the blue cheese on there. Chelsea to win the group.
Yep.
Chelsea to win the group, Seville to come second.
Yep.
And Rennes to go to Europa.
I mean,
Questions,
Seville,
comments? Go ahead.
Seville might want to just go to Europa because they want another trophy.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
The thing that kind of concerns me is Rennes. Yes, we got their goalkeeper, but like they were like what, second?
They are second right now in League One. They got some great quality play. It's going to be an honor to watch Rennes.
No, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a very
watching them.
And like, is it safe to say that what's the name of that guy? The manager for Sevilla? Lopetegui, yeah. Is it safe to say that, look, I don't think he's met any or played against any English teams in the past?
Okay.
Yeah. So Rennes are going to be pretty exciting.
Okay.
And to watch, but like I think Chelsea for the group.
Okay.
Yeah, Chelsea for the group.
Seville.
Hopefully we get our boys gelling quite till then. And then Sevilla will probably end up second. But Rennes going to be fun to watch, definitely.
Good stuff. Excellent. Good stuff. And Shift, that's not your group of death?
No.
All right. We'll move on to Group F then. Group F is as follows. Dortmund, Club Brugge, Lazio, and Zenit St. Petersburg. This is actually probably a group of death in the terminology of group of death because any one of these 4 teams, truth be told, can make it. It's not exciting. You see, the thing is that when people talk about a group of death, they're talking about big teams like Inter, Real, you know. But these teams, any one of these 4 teams, truth be told, can win this group. Shift, I'll say you to that.
As well.
Go ahead, Doctor.
I don't think Lazio's are going to make first or second. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
The top scorer.
I mean, Lazio finished the top 3 in last season in Serie A. They have the coaches. What's the name? They're top notch, man.
No, they are. I'm not dogging on Lazio. I'm just saying, like, Immobile in general in Europe has not performed well.
No, he has not.
He's like what, 38 goals this season?
Yeah, I don't know if he scored. He scored today though, didn't he? Against the Netherlands, right? It was 1-1. I don't know if it was Immobile who scored.
I can't see that the highlights.
Played, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, like Zenit, top scoring team in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's gonna be crazy, man.
Yeah, and Dortmund, of course. Everybody puts Dortmund as the number 1 team, but any one of them on their day of this group can win this.
But can you blame them? Like Haaland, Sancho, you know what I mean? Like in Dortmund, like Haaland has scored 53 goals in his last 53 games. Like, yes, in all of it. Like, what is that? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's superhuman, man.
It is. You know,
like the last 53 games he has played, he has scored 53 goals.
Yep, and next year he'll be playing for Bayern Munich.
Seriously.
Hmm?
Yeah, so this is you're right.
So this theoretically, Shift, how say you for this Group F being the group of death?
It was between this and Group H for me, for the group of death. I think you're right. I think Dortmund are better than the other 3.
Yes.
Significantly. But they're very little between the other 3 teams.
Right.
And it's going to be a fight to the finish. And I have no idea who's going to come second, third, or fourth.
And sometimes Dortmund lay eggs.
Yes.
Like how they did to PSG. They had PSG on the ropes last year. PSG, in my opinion, should never have been in the finals last year at all. Dortmund had them bang to rights. Bang to rights, man. All right, let's go to Group G then. Group G, Barcelona, Dynamo Kiev, Juventus, and Fani Karfosus, whoever can pronounce it, you win the prize for today. How say you to Fani Karfosus winning the Group G, good doctor?
Who?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Where are they even from?
I don't know if they're from Hungary or
Yeah, they're Eastern European
Yeah,
somewhere.
Eastern European or Croatia, Hungary or Romania.
No, I am ashamed to not know, first of all.
Yeah, I think I had it written down on my old notes, but not on this actually.
Like I know nothing about this team, but Barca and Juventus. We'll see what Pirlo does, I guess.
Yep.
But other than that, Dynamo Kiev, they can be exciting, but they never progress. So they're going down to Europa for sure. But Farhan Kavaha says,
all right, Shifty, do you have Barcelona winning this group? How say you to this? Messi versus Ronaldo. How say you?
I actually think Juventus is going to win the group. I think Barcelona is going to take a little bit of time to gel. Messi's still a little disgruntled. They'll drop points here and there, but yeah, it's going to be Juve, Barca 1 and 2, and I could see it go either way.
Interesting. Okay, the last one, Group H. Now, Group H has the host of the finals is going to be Istanbul. Is going to be in Istanbul. Istanbul Besiktas is in it with Manchester United, Paris Saint-Germain, and Red Bull Leipzig. How say you, as you put it, Shift, this being your group of death? Why?
I think the top 3 teams are evenly matched. Leipzig did really well last year. Man United is struggling big time. And PSG, you know, they run hot and cold. They've lost their captain. And, you know, they have 1 injury to Neymar from being really in trouble. And going to Istanbul to play in that stadium is really hard.
It is hard, yeah.
People go get draws in that stadium all the time because you know it's long travel time. They're always underestimated and they do a good job. So I do think they'll the Besiktas will come in 4th, but when it comes to the top 3, it's anybody's game. I like Man United still, even though Ole doesn't know what he's doing and the defense is really bad. Did anyone see Harry Maguire with his
red card nonsense,
today?
man?
It was so bad.
Do you know Reece James also got? Do you know Reece James at the end got a red card as well?
Oh, he did.
Yeah, he was meant to. You know, he was on to be man of the match, and then at the end he went to argue with the referee, and the referee gave him a straight red.
I missed the end, but like, you know, United's defense is really bad, but they still have a lot of talent going up. PSG can be found out on their day, so I would say PSG 1, RB Leipzig 2. But for me, this is the group of death with 6 really tasty games, all Doctor, 8 tasty games.
Doctor, how say you to Manchester United going to the league?
I kind of disagree with you on this being a group of death for a couple of reasons. If we were to look at all the teams here, for instance, you said like playing in a stadium, any stadium in Turkey, if you're like a visiting team, is pretty bad. But that's usually because the crowd is insane.
Yes, and they're getting crowds back though. A lot of them are getting their crowds back.
But it's not going to be like the 80,000. No,
it's not.
So it's not going to be as noisy. You're not going to see.
Hang on. Actually, truth be told, we don't know if the games are going to be played. The away games will be played in Istanbul, and by then in January or February they'll have at least 20 to 25. These teams like Man United are not at this current moment playing in front of spectators, and they're playing like donkeys. So you can imagine Manchester United now playing like donkeys with supporters back there.
I agree, but that kind of takes the advantage away from Istanbul. The most intimidating thing about these teams,
right?
Mm-hmm. Second thing is that like Man United, like okay, let's say Leipzig and Paris haven't necessarily strengthened in certain areas, right? But Man United have strengthened in one area. They're like, oh, let's add some more midfield players. You know what I mean? And that's all they did. They didn't like they needed defenders, right? And they're just like leaking holes right now, right? And they needed someone in the attack, right? They haven't done that, and their past 3 or 4 games, in terms of how cohesive a team is or how threatening a team can be, they weren't.
All right. How I put this to you then, Schiff. How say you to Edwin Cavalier scoring for Manchester United against PSG when they play the next? It won't be this game because he's probably most likely, because of the COVID. He doesn't come out of COVID in time for the 27th, the 26th or whatever, will be fit for it. How say you scoring against his old team and putting United into the group stage when United are on the brink of going to Europa League, and he comes on, Edison, and scores to take United into the group stage of away from Europa?
So I think more likely is he comes on, has a golden opportunity, and skies it. Because I've never seen someone have as many opportunities as he does, because he's great at getting into the right spaces, running into the spaces.
He is. He has been notorious, yeah.
And really good at getting into positions. But his finishing is really bad for a striker. And he's not going to get that many chances in Man United. And I think he's going to sky it. And he's going to mess it up. And they're going to Europa.
All right. You're United to Europa. Reef has joined us from Florida. We're actually at the last group, which is Group H. Schiff has dedicated this his group of death. I am under the discussion that United are going to Europa. The good doctor, I believe, has Paris and United going through.
How dare you?
Leipzig. Okay, Leipzig. Oh, Paris and Leipzig. So you have United also going to Europa.
No, I have Istanbul going to Europa.
Oh, you have Istanbul. Oh, you have United. You have United in fourth. United ain't going anywhere. Reef, how say you to Group H? Say something.
Like Shiv say, I don't think Edinson Cavani going to come to United and do anything. Whenever he's going out from COVID and ready to play and everything, I don't think he's going to dispute a lot as much as they put on him. They put him on his shoulder a lot to provide for the team. And I don't think he's going to do that. If it was like 5-7 years ago, maybe. They got an older soccer player. I don't want to be rude or something, but this is the era. He's not like 16 years old. He's an old player, and this is the situation. So how much is due? I don't think so a lot, but I wish I'm going to be surprised. I see them going to Europa very quickly.
All right. So
just can I make one comment?
Sure, go ahead.
Loving the hair, Reeve. Loving the hair. Loving the hair.
All right.
You look like an Italian gangster right now.
He is an Italian gangster. He's a Napoli. He's a Napoli coach.
He's one of the good fellas right now. Loving it.
Gattuso. All right. So, gentlemen, whilst the loving is going, that's the group stage, folks, for the Champions League. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we return for the commercial break, we're going to discuss a little bit about Project Big Picture. All right, join you soon. Okay, folks, we're back for the commercial break. Let me start this with the Project Big Picture. Let me give you a little bit of highlights of the big picture. The big picture concept was, the big picture concept was created by the American-owned Glazer family of Manchester United that also own the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The other people who came to the proposal were the American-owned Fenway Sports Group, who own Liverpool and other sporting events like the Red Sox of Boston. Their concept was to take the top 6 teams and, of course, the 3 historical Premier League teams which are still around in the Premier League, which were Southampton, Everton, and West Ham at the time, to make the big 9, so to speak, and giving them veto power over the rest of the league and creating an 18-team league. Gentlemen, some of the things that I've said it from the moment we were in lockdown. I said it that this mode of the Premier League, which we have right now, is not sustainable. This football system in England is not sustainable. I've said it for a long time. A lot of teams rely heavily on match day revenue, or at the Premier League level on TV revenue, and in doing so, having inflated salaries. Okay. That being said, I am in favor myself of an 18-team Premier League based on the same system that they have in the Bundesliga, which is 18 teams. I am in favor of the 2 bottom teams being relegated and the 2 top teams from the Champions League being relegated. The 3rd bottom place going into in the Premier League, going into a playoff system with the playoff system which they have in the Championship, and giving you the chance to fight. They do that in Germany. They do that in Spain. I don't know if they do in Italy, but they do that in Spain, where not all 3 teams get automatically relegated. 2 teams get relegated and the other 5 battle it out. I believe the Premier League team should go into a playoff system and fight it out there. So in other words, Bournemouth this year would have had the chance to play against Fulham, would have had a chance to play against Brentford, and see if they, and Swansea, and see if they could have remained in the Premier League or go down. So it makes it even more competitive. I am not in favor of scrapping the League Cup. The League Cup brings substantial amount of revenue to the lower divisions. Last year, Manchester United played against Rochdale at Old Trafford. Rochdale were able to make, on that match day alone, with the TV and all of that lot, almost £500,000. Enough money from, they lost the game, but enough money from that event to pay for approximately 3 to 4 months worth of wages, salaries, operational costs. So the League Cup, even though for us in the Premier League, we think it's all Mickey Mouse and so forth, it is the lifeblood money-wise for a lot of the League Cup teams. So in a way, am I in favor of some of the objects of Project Big Picture? Yes, but I'm not in favor of the big spending. Shiv, how say you to Project Big Picture?
So it was an interesting proposal, right? Like it's very American, where it's like take the top 9 teams and reduce it. I don't know why you have to reduce it from 20 to 18. You can have the same where the bottom 3 are getting relegated and the 3rd goes to the playoff. Either way, England has a lot more teams than professional teams than Germany do.
Right.
So I think 20 is fine.
But the reason why they wanted to reduce it to 18 means that they only play 34 teams in the Premier League, meaning that there's more space in the calendar, because in next 2 years, they expanded. Well, next year, they're expanding the Europa competition. There's just not going to be Europa League and Champions League. There's going to be the Europa Conference as well.
Yeah, but it's going to be new teams that are going to get it. I mean, the one thing that I did like about Big Picture was them talking about, instead of 4% of the revenue, TV revenues of the Premier League going to the lower leagues, it would expand how much money goes to the lower leagues, and it would get rid of parachute payments. I think parachute payments are kind of their bloodline for teams like Norwich, but I think they give too much advantages to teams that were in the Premier League. So you have a big yo-yo system that happens to these teams. But yeah, overall, it's a non-starter. They lost the vote 18-2. Apart from like Liverpool and
Manchester United, the proposal team. Yeah,
no one voted for it. Things do have to change. I think the lower leagues are suffering a lot because of lack of revenue, and the bigger teams should help, but why would they?
Well, okay, and also one of the things is that the lower teams have mortgaged them. The lower teams have mortgaged themselves out to the point of no return. Doctor, how say you to Project Big Picture?
So my understanding is that when this was first proposed, there was 14 teams that had the right to veto.
They still have the right to veto. It has to be 14 teams have to always agree on anything for things to pass in the Premier League.
All right. So the 14 teams, and they're going to implement a similar system by 2023 or something like that. So this new proposal has reduce it to 9 teams, and you need a 6 out of 9 vote to veto something. But my only issue is it almost like there is a lot of money that is planned for a bailout to the lower leagues and things like that. My issue is like it makes it seem like these not 6 to 9 teams are making the bailout, but in return are asking for way too much control.
True.
So that's kind of like, I don't mind the bailout of the smaller teams, or you know, the 25% of the TV revenues that it's planned for next year, or the quarter of God knows what that's also going to be given to, like there's a layout I saw in terms of what they're actually what's going to trickle down. Like 100 million is supposed to be given as well. Other than
to the FA gets 100 million. The rest of the leagues get 250 million. Reef, how say you to the system being based on American system of, well, the 6 teams become the same 6 clubs, like how they have in the NFL, where no one can come in and join except, how say you?
First thing first, I like this comparative between what you're talking about, the last team from the bottom supposed to compete with the lower league. I like it because if you look on what's going on right now, if we're talking about at the moment, Fulham is last place. So I'm looking by what I see, I believe that Fulham going to remain in the lower league because Botman can win it and can stay up. I didn't like the 18 team instead of 20, but I understand what you said because everything is going to be expanded and the calendar is going to be busy. So it's kind of understanding. I do not like the system of the American crap. I'm sorry, this is not any costume, but I don't like that. That's what is nice in the Premier League. Like, if you look on it right now, I don't think in the beginning of the season, none of us see Everton going to be on the top of the league.
No. And that's the thing. Go ahead. And that's the thing.
So
who are the historical... Sorry, I stopped you again. Go ahead.
I don't like to see the 16. Like, I'm sure it's going to be the 2 Manchester, the Chelsea, the Arsenal, the Spurs. I don't like that. This is not what we know about the Premier League. That's why this game is so exciting and taking and collecting so many people to watch it, because everything is every week can be changed. You can see the number 1 team is Manchester City losing to the lower one. This is the part of the game.
This is part of the game. But what they want to do now is to create their own club, like how they have in the NFL, owners club, so that if there's any new people, like for example, Saudi Arabian coming in for Newcastle to create money and then to fight against them, they don't want that. They want their 6 and they want the pot of the pie and to have the pot of the pie. At this present moment, Manchester United are just happy to be in 4th, always in 4th. Manchester United are not going to win the Premier League. They don't even care. It's based on the American system where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers once won the Super Bowl. They don't need to win it again. They have enough revenue just coming in every single time. Manchester United have enough supporters around the globe that all they have to do is finish top 4 and give them European football, and people will watch anyway. They don't have to win the Premier League. It has come to what Arsene Wenger says, where he says 4th place now is a trophy in itself, because the money that you can make from coming 4th place and getting into the Champions League, just getting into the Champions League group stage, is almost as much money as winning the Premier League itself. How say you to that shift?
I mean, yeah, the amount of money there's in the Champions League is immense, and as TV expands, maybe it'll become even bigger, and then the bigger clubs in all these countries will form the European League that people keep on talking about. Oh, that just makes me sad.
It's sad, but it's the truth. It's where it's going. I mean, look at right now. Look at we ourselves, 10 years ago, we could get our football on Fox News, on Fox anytime, anywhere, any place. Within the last 10 years, it's now streaming. Even those who remember who bought the NBC Gold, the Gold package? Those Gold package people are even suffering because now it's on Peacock package. You know, I'm gonna, what's the name? Round it up here to say bye to the folks.
One second, John, one more word. you know, is you all know it and everybody know it. But what you're talking about, the 6 things, is a one word, is a greed, and is becoming to be worse and worse and worse. And I don't think the Premier League need to fall into it. It's completely greed. It's just to be so greedy. And greedy people not survive, or I don't know, this is just bad. This is bad. The greedy is so bad. The Premier League not need to fall to these things of greediness. I don't think he's supposed to work on this 6 stuff. It's not fair than the entire thing. It's great. It's just money. Literally, it's just money. More.
Guys, folks at home, I'm going to leave you with that as a self-fulfilling prophecy said by Reef all the way in Florida for ourselves, of football lovers. We're going to say bye to the folks, and then we're going to carry on, etc. Reef down in Florida, say bye to the folks.
Goodbye, everybody.
Heading up to the Carolinas, Doctor.
Take it easy, everybody.
All right. Over on the river, the other side of the river, Captain.
Where greed is good in New York, but not in football.
All right, folks. We'll see you all next week. Well, the Premier League will return, and we'll be chatting about the Premier League. Take care of yourselves, and as the good doctor says, remember to wash your hands.